Everybody, it's Susie from Ruby Rose Reborns, and I'm here tonight with my lovely Emma Louise, and she's modeling the dress. Now, before we go on, Emma is the Penny sculpt, in case some of you don't know that, and Penny by Natalie Blick. She came out last year, and she was reborn for me as a custom by Crystal Wynn of Paris Alley Reborns. And she is about, I'd say 21 inches, and she's a chubby little girl, a little fatso, and I love that. And that's what I wanted, and Crystal really paid attention to my needs. I'd asked her for a certain hair and a certain look, and she did it. And you know what? She came home in this beautiful lace dress. I looked on the tag and it says Camilla on it. So it's a Camille or Camilla dress. I don't know much about them, but it has this beautiful lace overlay that you can see. And underneath that lace overlay is a knit underdress. And it has these darling cap sleeves. And the beautiful thing about this Penny sculpt is that she can wear sleeveless dresses and clothes, and that just makes it so fun, and her legs are full as well. Now, when I got her, she came home dressed in this and had a sweater on, and she was absolutely breathtaking. And I loved this dress because if you know Crystal at all, Crystal has a real vintage vibe to her nursery, which is really her signature about her, is her vintage vibe and her beautiful complexions on her reborns. And when I first got her, she had a longer body, a body for like maybe a 22, 23 inch body on her, because I think that's what they originally said. She was 22 or 23 inches, and it was a jointed body. And you know, I could not understand what it was about this girl that I really was having a hard time bonding with her. And you know, and then I thought, you know what, it's the body. So I took that jointed body off because I just don't like jointed bodies. And I got her a Saskia body, which was for a 20 to 21 inch doll. So I thought, yes, those proportions will work better. I put her in it, and it did fit her perfectly. She's shorter, and it just works great, and I have bonded with her ever since. I've had her for a year now, and I just adore this baby. I have 6 reborns, and of course I can say she is my favorite Penny sculpt, because she's the only one I have. But I love her, and I love playing with her. Anyway, so tonight I thought we would feature her. She has her little bare feet. If you can see those, she's so pretty. I love her feet, and I love her toes. And we are going to change her into something else. And while I'm talking and chatting, and we're going to have a little chat about a subject that may be overdone in this community as of this week. I don't know. It's up to you about what defines a master artist or a prototype artist. And before you run away and say, oh no, I've heard this before, you've actually heard it on my channel before. A few months ago, I did a whole detailed video on that. But no, I'm not going to talk about what a master artist is and what a prototype artist is. That's been said plenty here in the Reborn community as of this last week. However, what I am going to talk about is, does it really matter? Does it really matter if you have a baby reborn by a master artist or a prototype baby in your collection? Does that matter to you? Now, I can only speak for myself, but I'm hoping that you will think about it, and if you have any comments, you'll leave them down below. Or if you want to make a video, feel free to make a video about the topic and discuss your feelings about it. But if you do make a video, I would really appreciate and almost insist that you do link my video in your video description bar, and that you do a little shout out for me, because one of the pet peeves that I have is when I'm watching a video and I start watching it and I understand they're talking about a subject that has been talked about before, that is a recent common subject that people are liking to talk about, and the people making the video do not leave a shout out, nor do they leave anything in the description bar. And if they do a shout out, oftentimes it's just like, well, yes, so and so did that, and blah 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 blah. No, you know, credit, people deserve the credit. Credit is, how is it? Credit is due. You know, where credit is due, you know, you need to acknowledge the person that is doing that. And not just for me, but for anybody that you come across in the community that's done a good topic that you'd like to repeat yourself. And I try to do that. If I hear a tag or, you know, a topic, I try to reference the person that did it. It has done the tag that originated the subject, because the person watching might want to go back and see that one. Anyway, so much for that and all the housekeeping rules. Let's get down to the subject. And while, like I said, I'm going to chat about this while I'm changing her into something else, and I just picked something, so who knows what we're going to get. Anyway, we're going to take off her little pink headband. You guys can see her hair, and sometimes her hair is so thick and so wonderful, sometimes it can look like a little bouffant, sort of, and we want it to look more like a baby. Anyway, so yes, does it really matter to you if you have a master artist baby in your collection? Or a prototype? Is that really gonna be a deal breaker for you getting a baby? So my thoughts are like this. And of course, as I said, this is something that I can only speak for myself. And you can only really speak for yourself. But it is something to think about, I think. As I've told you many times before, that I have been reborning now. It's been, well, it's now 10 years, and I've had highs and I've had lows. I've had a few years where I just did them continually, and then a few years where maybe I only did one or two. I've had custom shop. I've done a lot of custom orders, and then I've stopped doing custom orders. Then I've started doing custom orders again, and blah blah blah. But mostly, and I see this in a lot of new artists too, and a lot of people that have been around for a while, they want to make, originally the motivation of getting in and learning how to reborn, it was to make babies for themselves because they love the dolls so much. And yes, that was my original motivation, and I hadn't really sold any babies or even attempted to sell them, or even was going to think that the baby was even close to being good enough to sell till after a year, maybe a little more. Anyway, so I didn't buy reborn dolls. I made them myself. My daughters made me a few. Isn't that beautiful? This is a seafoam green dress with the netting over the top, with a cotton dress underneath, lining with the netting, and then this darling lace bodice over with the little cap sleeves. And I just think it's a beautiful color, and it seems to be popular this year with the baby clothes maker. And anyway, so you know how distracted I get. So I made babies for myself, or my daughter made me babies, and I did buy my first reborn, but while I was getting into this, I did buy off of eBay, and I brought her home, and she was the one that kind of got me started into thinking I can do this, and I really wanted to do this. Not to make money, but I just really loved the art form, and the thought of making some of these babies for myself was wonderful. So I did that. Well, as the years went on, I bought a couple of reborns, and I was, you know, just that I saw, and I was disappointed. And I just didn't do those anymore. I didn't buy anymore. Well, when a few years ago, actually 2 years ago, oh, these are tight little bikinis on your little butt. Yes, they are. So sorry, girl. Let's not lose our focus on the camera. Okay. So, there we go. Back up a little there. Oh, I lost my lighting on one of these, I see. Okay. Well, I am going to have to, oh, there we go. There we go. We might have some lighting here for a little while, I hope. Anyway, when I got, a few years ago, I decided, you know what? I've been doing this a long time. There was one particular artist that I loved. I've loved her work from the very beginning. She started a little bit before me, and her name is Crystal Wynn, and she's with Paris Alley Reborns, and I've watched her for years. And I thought, you know what? I got a little money now. I am going to buy me a custom doll. And I'm going to pick out the one I want, and I know the exact artist that I want to go to. And that was Crystal, and I got on her website, and I picked out Ricky, which is a Frida sculpt by Carla Wagerwich. And if you, in my intro, you can see Ricky's picture. She's right in my intro, and her name is there on her picture. I still have Ricky. She's in the back there. But so I got her. I fell madly in love with her, and I just, she was beautiful. She was everything I wanted. And why did I go to Crystal? I went to Crystal because she does the babies the way I like. I like her style. Is she the style for everybody? No, but a lot of people do like her style. I love her complexion. She has a signature color palette that she uses, and oh my goodness, I hope we're seeing this. She has a signature color palette that she uses, and see, it's kind of a peaches and cream. She has a signature way she roots, the way she dresses, everything about them. That's what I loved about her babies. They were just unique. I knew when I got it home that I would have purchased something that was of collectible value to me. She looked like an heirloom doll. This is not everybody's choice, is it? No. She really specializes in the older babies, and I'm losing my light again, so y'all are going to need to just hold on for a moment. Okay, Houston, I think I have fixed the problem with the lights. All right. We're back in business now. Anyway, as I was saying, I like Crystal Wynn's work. I actually love her work. I love her dolls. And that was what I wanted. And so I got on. I ordered, as I told you, I ordered Ricky. And I loved her. And I really felt like I got a baby that was an heirloom baby. I was so happy. And no, she was not cheap. It took me a little bit of time, a few months to pay her off, but I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was looking for, and I was very excited because I had been waiting to do this for a long time. And so then what happens is, I got my Saskia and so forth. Well, as time went on, a year later, almost to the date, I wanted another Crystal doll. And I wanted another custom. And I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to go right back to Crystal. And I did. I got a penny. I saw a lot of her pennies. She had a lot of blonde ones. She hadn't done one with dark hair. And that's what I wanted. I wanted one with the dark hair. And I asked her to make it short. And she did. And I was very, very pleased. And I'm still very pleased with her. So, now, why did I choose Crystal? Well, I told you that I liked her dolls, I liked her look, I liked the vintage vibe. Okay, what kind of titles does Crystal have? Crystal is a prototype artist. I knew that. I subscribed to a magazine, Lifelike Dolls. It's actually put out by McPherson's in Canada. And I've had that for a few years. Well, Crystal is often featured in that magazine, and in fact, one of them had a whole spread on her and her dolls and the cover and everything, and I loved it. I loved those dolls, and I thought, oh, if I could ever afford to get one, you know, of Crystal's dolls. And then, surprisingly, it was a lot easier for me to do than I thought. And so I got that. So I knew she was a prototype artist. Did that make a difference to me? Absolutely not. I don't care. If she didn't have one title, I wouldn't care. I wanted her work in my collection. Does that make sense? I think it does. And oh, don't you just look gorgeous in that beautiful dress. So, now, I had purchased Ricky, ordered her, I think it was at the end of May of 2016, and I had her paid off in June. End of April, excuse me. I had her paid off in June, and then it was then, towards the end of my layaway with her, that I was on my Artist of Reborn Creations forum, that I saw that Crystal had achieved the title of Master Artist and was given the title of Master Artist from Iora. And I went, wow, that's so cool. She's now a Master Artist. Well, did I think, oh, well, my artist is a Master Artist and she's a prototype. Well, I might have to admit that that was pretty neat. I thought that was pretty exciting, and I think I've mentioned that before. But really, would I have not ordered my Ricky or my Emma Louise here if Crystal was an artist without those titles? I certainly would. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, ladies, is does it really matter? Because I'll tell you something about these titles, too. You need to be a member of these organizations like Iora, and they invite you, so they're watching you. You have to be somebody that's been reborning a lot, you know, for them to notice you and be out in the public and advertising and have websites and all that stuff, you know, so that they notice. Are there a lot of artists out there that really that don't draw a lot of attention to themselves like that? Oh, yes, there are. There's plenty. And as far as prototypes artists go, you know, that's kind of a political thing too. With a prototype, there will be one of the sculptors will get around and say, you know, I'm looking for somebody to do, you know, a few prototypes of my new sculpt. So a lot of people will campaign for it. Not campaign is like, you know, majorly, but they'll send her their work. They'll contact her and hope that she will recognize them as a prototype artist. Because admittedly, being a prototype artist is a bee in your bonnet if you're really into doing reborns on a full-time basis and you need, you know, custom orders and so forth and all that. And so then the artist will draw from the sculptor will draw from the submission she gets, and she'll pick the few that she likes. She likes their work. She's not saying that the other people are bad. She just prefers these people. We all have our preferences. And then, of course, there are sculptors that will go back and back and back to the same people because they've had such great success with these certain artists to do their work, and they'll ask them for it. So does that mean that if you're not a prototype artist or you're not a master artist, that, holy cow, maybe just get right out of reborning, just don't ever do it again? No. There's very few and far between. There's a lot of artists out there. There's hundreds of them, actually. Just go on YouTube. You'll find hundreds of them. They all vary in degree of talent and experience. And they do marvelous, beautiful jobs. But they don't care about the titles. They haven't joined guilds. They haven't campaign for that. And as far as other titles go, in these guilds that people join, there's opportunities to get Best Baby of the Month, Best Baby of the Year, the Best Saskia, all those, and and then here again, they submit their babies' pictures, and then the board votes on them. I belong to a forum, Artist of Reborn Creations, and every month they have a contest, so to speak, and you vote. I've never entered one. I don't plan on ever entering one. But I know there are a few ladies on that forum that love to enter their babies, and there's no problem with that. I'm just the kind of person that really doesn't care about that. So a lot of that, these titles, other than, maybe the prototype or the best artist, whatever, they come from people entering. There has to be an entry to it. And then you get noticed and you get your doll voted on. But as far as a collector goes, which I am both, did it matter to me that Crystal was a master artist? No, it did not. I like Crystal's work. I like my daughter's work, Elizabeth. She did my Saskia, which is my Charlotte, which you can also see in the pictures and intro. I love her work. And you know what? She's not a master artist, and she's not a prototype artist, and she's never entered into any of these things. She just enjoys the art. But she is pretty popular on Etsy, and she gets custom orders constantly. She does toddlers. And she'll occasionally do a baby like she did my Charlotte. And I will tell you this right now. Her and I are collaborating on another one for me. This is one of my dream babies. I've told you about that earlier in the year, that there will be 2 or 3 that I make for myself this year. And one of them is just, I'm so excited about. She is a dream baby. She's a sculpt that is a very popular one, very difficult to find. And she's an open-eyed baby, but Elizabeth is going to paint her for me, and I'm going to root her hair. So we have this collaboration, and that should be in the next month that we have that new baby. So I'm excited about that. But anyway, I'm getting a little distracted. Anyway, yes, there are lots of people. And so does it matter? No. If there's a baby you love out there, don't even think twice about it. Unless you're some serious collector that thinks you need to have all master artists and prototype artists babies in your collection, fine. I don't really know why. Maybe you think you're going to get some extra money from it later if you decide to sell. Maybe it's just something that rocks your boat. That's okay. Reborns don't. There's very few ladies that are collectible. Reborns are just not a collectible doll. But they're beautiful kits, and I'm sorry that they aren't, but they're too mass-produced, and they're not, well, we'll go into that in another video. But, if you fall in love with a baby, and you love that baby, that doesn't matter. If she meets your criteria for skill and all of that with it, then go for it, and who cares? And other people in this community should not be judging other people if they don't look at their nursery and say, oh, she just has mediocre dolls in it. Well, how do they know? No. There's too many new people here in the community now. They've been reborning for 5 minutes, or they've been collecting for a few months. That does not make them an expert. Absolutely not. This is it's a seasoning. It's like a fine wine. It gets better and better with the age and the year and the experience with it. So that's my spiel. To this person, Susie, from Ruby Rose Reborns, if I love a baby, I love a baby, and it does not matter to me if they're a master artist. And just in closing, there's not a lot we can do, ladies out there, to control people that are using master artists behind their name. I'm sorry, there isn't. There's no law. There's no, I don't even know what to call it. but there's no patent on that name. So if you're a buyer and you see master artist in the description bar from the person that's selling that doll, they may claim they are a master artist and not even understand what it is. They may claim that because they may say it because they've been reborning for quite a few years. So they feel that makes them a master artist. Well, you know what? It very well could make them a master artist, really, in technique and painting and everything else. But if the actual title means something to you, then you better know to go and look on IORA. Look for that plaque that Katie showed you, that I've showed you, that it says awards the master artist for a year, for what years they're awarded that, by the IORA, which is the IIORA. I know I'm slaughtering the name. And I don't know what that acronym stands for. You know, I don't know what those initials really are, but I'm pretty sure Reborn Artist is the RA at the end. But, you know, they have their criteria, and if you want something, you want an IORA Master Artist with the title and the plaque and that official award, then check it out. If you have a somebody that's saying they're a master artist, well, you know, find out. Ask them if they belong to the IORA. You know, and if they don't, and they just say, I just feel like I'm a master artist, well, that's fine. If you like the baby, go for it. If she's a good artist, go for it. But if it really means something to you to have that actual title, then do your research with the organization and see if she's displaying her her plaque, and you can flat out ask her if she's an IORA member, master artist, been awarded that by the master artist when she talks about being a master artist. And if she doesn't, well, then you know. And if she can't show you the plaque, you know then too. But if it doesn't matter to you, who cares? She feels that confident in herself that she feels like she is. But two artists that are doing that, I want to say, you know, you're causing a lot of confusion. And I've seen it all over the place this past week. You know, I would use a different name. I'd use experienced artists. You could use professional artists. Professionalism to me means, you know, you do this for a living. You are a professional baseball player. You're a professional football player. You know, you do this for a living and make money. And that's a professional artist. And if you do that, oh, you know, Godspeed. That's fine. But if you're someone like me that does a customs here and there, you know, an experienced artist would be a good way of putting it, rather than using a name that will confuse people. That's just to protect you as the artist, really, and to keep you from embarrassment and all that, because, you know, as we've seen this week, people are really getting into this master artist thing, and so I would avoid embarrassment at all costs, but that's me. Anyway, so think about it, ladies. Prototype artist, that's a different story. You know, a prototype actually means you get the actual sculpt from the sculptor, and you're making the first babies, the prototypes of this baby for the public to see. So you want to be careful with that, but I don't see many artists abusing that title. And I'm not saying they're abusing it by claiming they're master artists when they really don't know what's going on. I'm just saying protect yourself and use a different phraseology. And collectors, think about it. You know, there's a lot of beautiful artists that have done beautiful jobs out there that make beautiful babies. And I'm going to say this. There's a lot of people that make gorgeous babies that are not master artists, never applied to be a master artist, and they're better than some of these master artists. I see master artists or people that have the actual IORA plaque. And, you know, I wouldn't buy their baby, but that was my preference. I don't really care for their style. But I'm just saying, If a person's not a prototype artist, maybe they should be, if they wanted to be. If they're not a master artist, who cares? Like I said, that's kind of a political thing too. You know, people are going to, you know, it's subject to a defined board of people that are going to pick these people. And a lot of it is, they don't just pick them at random. It's people that have been around a long time and have their style and their consistency, as Katie from My Little World said. And she did an excellent job with defining what the actual titled Iora Master Artist is. And I'm going to put her link in my description from Katie from My Little World. She did a great video. But like I said, that's not what I'm talking about. Think about what your collection is. Don't be afraid. If I watch people's painting, and if you like it, go for it. It just, who really cares? Is it an elite? Is it an elitism? You know, to have this say it. You know, you can have you can have one of those dolls, and you know, maybe you really don't like the doll, but it's a master artist doll, so maybe you better like it. No. It has to be your taste. Collections are individual. Babies are individual. Just like when we had our own children. They're all individual. They're all lovely in their own right. So, that's all I'm going to say about that tonight. And just a little quick update. Yes, Annabelle did have her puppies. And you can see pictures of them on my Instagram account, which I will leave down below too in my description. And she had two girls, 2 boys. We had to have the emergency C-section at the last minute. I'm telling you, it was a nerve-wracking few days, but all the babies are doing fine. It was a miracle. When we took her, we had 1 little baby. She delivered here, and when she wasn't getting the job done on the rest, and we took her in, we really felt like maybe those 2 babies were dead, and she had gone. Oh. Anyway, so then they ended up being alive, and it was just a miracle that I thank God for all the time, every time I look at them. And they had their dew claws out tonight, or I'd bring one in here and show you, but I can't separate them from their mom right now. But in another week, she'll let me take them out of the room, and then we will be showing our new babies. So, good night for now, and thank you for hanging around for my rambling, and I am anxious to hear your take on this subject. And bye for now.